Hey beautiful people, welcome back to Finding with Jessie, the life coach. I hope everybody's having a beautiful and fabulous day today. I am real pumped. I'm actually doing a garage project. As you guys know, I do professional organizing. So when I'm not coaching, I'm organizing one thing or another. And today it's all about a garage project I'm working on. And it gave me inspiration for today's video, which is all about procrastination. We're going to be talking about how to conquer it, how to go through it, and how to leave it behind. It is 2020, and we want to make sure that our old behaviors, our old ways of being, everything that sabotages us is being left in the past. A lot of people that I coach, no matter who it is, whether it's, a young kid, whether it's a college student, whether it's a high school student, or it's an adult, they all suffer from some form of self-sabotage, which is procrastination. And I touched a little bit on this on a past video that I did this week on how procrastination can be so harmful to us and sabotage us. Because if you really think of it, right, every time we procrastinate on something, we create havoc in our lives that really don't need to be there. Majority of the time, we have enough time to tackle a task, a project, an assignment, whatever it may be that you are putting off. We have enough time majority of the time to do the task, but since we procrastinate, we create this little issue into this huge thing for us. We want to make sure that we stop creating unnecessary burdens on ourselves. So I thought it would be very beneficial to focus on that today, right? I'm taking a break and I said, you know what, let me go do a video on it. Because I want to make sure that everybody is aware of the self-sabotaging behaviors and everyone is aware of how harmful procrastination can be, right? Like I said, you create blockages and you hold yourself back and we just overwhelm ourselves. And we have so much on our plate as is, right? A lot of people are trying to juggle their life and keep a well-balanced life. So I'm going to give some tips on how you can conquer procrastination. So if that is you, this is definitely going to be a video that you want to listen to. So let's get started. Hey, why are you doing this? So that's tip number 1. If you are suffering from procrastination, you need to start getting really real with yourself and ask yourself the question of why do you do it? Why do you do it? We all know that when we procrastinate on tasks, on assignments, on whatever we need to do, we always make it worse for ourselves. Not only that, but we actually bring in anxiety, we bring in those anxious feelings, we bring in that uncertainty, and we just get overwhelmed when we procrastinate on things we know we have to do, right? All we do is just put off the inevitable. So why do we do that? So if that is you, I want you to start asking yourself, why are you putting off assignments, tasks, responsibilities that you know you have to do? So one thing I find is when I ask my students, my college students specifically, why are they procrastinating? And we start reflecting and getting really real about why they are doing it. There's a few categories that pop up and that they are, their answers fall into. And one is fear. Majority of the times they are fearful of tackling an assignment, right? They might be fearful because they don't have all the information. They might be fearful because they don't know where to start. They might be fearful because they don't actually know how to do the task, right? So we're going to be talking about that because number 1, the basis of getting and conquering anything in life, like getting over it, is to understand it. Once you understand why you do certain things that you do, you are in a better position to actually forge ahead and go right through it. So start asking the question, am I overwhelmed? Am I unmotivated? Is this something I don't want to do because I'm afraid? Is this something I don't want to do because I don't know how to do? So that's number 1 to conquering procrastination. Try to understand why you do it. Once you start understanding why you do it, you're going to start putting yourself into a category of what type of procrastinator are you? And that's going to lead us to step 2. Well, when I say what type of procrastinator are you, every type of procrastination fits into a specific category. So you might be the person who is a perfectionist. So a lot of times I find when I am coaching, if I'm working with a student who is a perfectionist, they for sure indulge in procrastination. And one of the reasons why they do what they do is because they want it to be perfect. So since they want it to be perfect, they spend a lot of time fantasizing in their mind how they're going to tackle a certain project, a certain assignment, right? And by the time they stop fantasizing and actually bringing into reality their actions, they wind up self-sabotaging it. So once you start asking yourself why you do it, you're going to start putting yourself into a category of what type of procrastinator you are. You can be an anxious procrastinator. You can be a procrastinator that is a perfectionist. You can be the I have all the time in the world kind of procrastinators, right? And we're going to break that down and, break it down of what it truly means. So when you are an anxious procrastinator, the reason why you become so anxious is because your assignment, your task, whatever you have to tackle is so overwhelming to you that you become super anxious. And because you find it so overwhelming, what you do is you procrastinate because you have no idea where to start. So why is that so important to know? Well, if you actually understand why you do what you do, and then you put yourself into a category, and now you're in the anxious category, you'll understand that in order for you to forge through and get and conquer that procrastination, you need to break down your task. So if you feel overwhelmed with a task, such as like a garage project, right? That's a huge task to take over, depending on how much stuff you have thrown in your garage and just put it as, usually the garage becomes like a dumping ground, right? For most people. But a lot of people use their garage as a storage. And what they do is they just keep dumping things and dumping things and dumping things and dumping things because they have no idea where to put them and they feel like they don't have the time, so they just dump it in the garage, right? So when you go to tackle a project like the garage or like the attic, it's gonna feel super overwhelming. So how do you move forward with that? How do you go forward? Well, break down the task. So like for a garage project, you have to be realistic on how much time it's gonna take you to tackle that garage. So if you have a bunch of boxes and a bunch of stuff and you've been using that as a storage ground, you're probably not gonna be able to conquer your garage in one day, right? Majority of the people work Monday through Friday, so you might just have weekends. So you might want to start scheduling weekends, right? Start scheduling them out in certain amount of hours that you are going to put in to tackle that garage project. So you want to make sure you are breaking it down, right? You can't tackle everything in one day. You got to be realistic. Not only that, but you have to understand when you're doing a big project like a garage project, is that you're going to be so tired after dealing with everything you have to deal with, especially if you have a lot of memories, right? In your garage. A lot of times people sit down, they want to look through pictures, they want to look through memorandum, they want to look through yearbooks. It goes on and on and on and on. And that takes a lot of time, right? Sometimes people sit there, they start going down through memory lane and they lose focus. So those are things that might prop up, especially if you are aware of your behaviors. Like if you're the type of person that does that and you are aware of that, you want to make sure you're scheduling enough time when you're breaking down that task that you are accounting for that. So that's one example, right? Let's say you are the fun procrastinator. So the fun procrastinator is the person who loves to have fun and does not want to make time for the necessary tasks that they need to do, right? So let's say you are a student and you want to have fun. You don't want to sit down and do, let's say, a 10-page paper. How do you break through that? How do you go forward if you keep on, putting it off and putting it off and putting it off? Well, you have to think, the more I put this off, I'm going to become super overwhelmed. I'm going to back up all my projects. I'm going to back up all my assignments. And then guess what? I'm not going to be able to do? Have fun, right? The thing that you want to do, you're not going to be able to do it because you keep on putting off your assignment. So for the fun people, you want to make sure that number one, you're being real honest with yourself and keeping in focus the fact that if you keep on procrastinating, you're actually going to do the opposite and create more overwhelming feelings for yourself and not be able to have as much fun as you want to. So you want to keep that in the foresight. You don't want to keep the project in your foresight. You want to keep the benefit of completing that project in the foresight, right? So as soon as I complete this, I'm going to be able to have fun. So that's what you focus on. Number two, a great tip for my fun procrastinators is to make whatever you have to do as fun as possible. That's simple. Let's say you have an assignment that you don't want to do and you're like, oh, this is so, this is not gonna be fun. Well, create study groups. Study groups can be amazing, right? You have another person to bounce off ideas off of. You have another person to share the task with. Whatever you can't figure out, maybe the other person can figure out. Two minds are better than one kind of concept, so make it fun. Let's say, you're the fun procrastinator and you have to do a painting project in your house and you're like, I really don't want to do this. Well, create a painting party. Why not? Call some friends over, ask them if they want to paint with you, order some pizza, get some drinks, get the music blasted. Who made the rules that painting cannot be fun? So whatever you have to do, make it fun. You got a garage project you don't really want to tackle, call some friends over, ask them to help you. Family members, if you got family members, get them all involved and do the same thing. It's gonna be a fun day. We're gonna go through memories. We're gonna order some pizza. We're gonna have some drinks. We're gonna take some breaks. Make sure to always schedule breaks. So make sure you're making the project fun. So number 3 is you want to create a breakout session. So what is a breakout session? A breakout session is when you're breaking everything down. So this is where you're going to create your to-do list. This is where you're going to break down the tasks that you need to break down. And what I mean by breaking it down is like, who do you need to involve in this task? Do you need to involve anybody in this task? Do you need research for this task? Whatever steps you need to get that task or project or whatever you have to do, get it done completely in all aspects that you need to get that done and get to the other side. Write it down. Write down all your steps in all of this entity. Now, this is a big one. If you have a task or assignment or something you need to do that does not have a due date, assign a due date to it and stick to it. No exceptions. Treat all of your tasks that do not have deadlines like a deadline. So you will always find, as human beings, if we have a deadline or we have a structure to follow, we will follow it. Like if you have to be at work at 8 a.m., I pretty much believe that you're at work every single day at 8 a.m. If not, you might be a few minutes late, but you're not walking into work at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. You're just not coming whenever you feel like it. If you have to be at work every single day, you're pretty much at work every single day. Now, if you have an employer that's literally like, come in whenever you feel like it. I would like you to come in at 8 o'clock, but I'm not making it a condition. You will walk in at any time, right? And as human beings, we treat our tasks and assignments the same way. So if it doesn't have a due date, that's when we are prone to procrastinate and take forever to complete it. So if you have tasks, assignments, or anything you need to tackle that does not have a due date, start getting busy, create a to-do list, and start to create a realistic, make sure that it's realistic, date that you can complete it. You will find that once you start assigning due dates to assignments that usually don't have a due date, you start being able to blaze through it. A big one also in this category is if you're not sure of how long it takes to complete a task, if you're not sure, estimate the time and then double it. As human beings, we tend to underestimate how much time it takes to do a task. Not only that, but we tend to forget about all the outside sources that can affect our project coming to completion, right? So what I mean by that? Well, let's say you have a garage project and you want to finish it today and you had it all mapped out and today was your due date, but you never accounted for maybe you might get sick. Maybe you might stay late at work. Maybe one weekend, you might have family come in to visit and you might not be able to tackle your garage project on your specific weekend that you set forth, right? That happens, right? So you want to make sure you're accounting for any outside sources that might affect the completion of your project. So whatever time that you're estimating, take that time and double it. And that's a short way for you to be able to tackle your projects by the due date that you are setting forth. My 4th tip is to do a power prep, 1 hour power prep. So what does a power prep consist of? So a power prep is going to consist of decluttering and removing any type of distractions so you can focus on what you need to focus on. So that could be anything. So let's say, for instance, you have to study for some big test. right? And you don't have a designated study area, and it's, you study in your bedroom, let's say, and your bedroom is all filled with clutter. It's like all over the place. Well, what you are going to do is you are going to take 1 hour before you start your project to make sure that you remove all clutter and distractions out of your bedroom. So that means turning off the TV. That means, detaching from social media. That means turning off your phone. Do not put it on vibrate. Turn it off. Turn off your phone. That means if you have clothes all over the place, you have food all over the place, plates and cups or whatever have you, you make sure you're cleaning all of that up. You're shutting down everything you need to shut down to focus on what you need to focus on. Another example, you're doing a garage project, but in order for you to even get in the garage, you actually need to remove certain things that's blocking the door. Well, your 1 hour power prep is going to be focused on removing all those things and putting it into its home so you can actually get through the door to get to your garage project. If you have a car in the middle of your garage and you're trying to focus on your garage project, well, what you're going to do? Well, you're going to take that car and you're going to move it out, right? You're going to find a parking space for it. So that's what I mean by 1 hour power prep. So it's going to be different from everybody, depending on what they're focusing on. But that's what it's going to look like. You're going to take 1 hour to remove clutter and distractions out of your sight so you can focus on what you need to focus on. My 5th tip is to get motivated. Start getting motivated. The best way to get motivated is through music. So if you have something that you want to tackle that doesn't require silence, get that music pumping. Seriously, put on the music, blast it up high, get into the gear that you need to get into to tackle that project, and get yourself motivated. Get yourself an energy drink. Make sure you get food in your system. Make sure you have snacks to get you through whatever task you're going to focus on. You want to make sure that you're getting motivated. Music is the best motivator. If you get that thing on, it starts energizing your body. You start putting that music, you want to move your body, right? And that's the best way to start going forward to what you want to go forward towards. So let's say you have a closet project and you feel overwhelmed. You're like, oh my God, I don't even know how to start. I feel so unmotivated. I'm tired. Well, guess what? Go into that kitchen, get yourself some food, get yourself an energy drink, get yourself a power drink, get yourself some snacks, put on some comfy sweats, and go pump up that music. After you start hearing that music, your body starts moving. You're going to be super motivated to go tackle that project, okay? So that's how you have to do it. You got to motivate yourself. Now, if your project requires silence, you can still motivate yourself. Probably not with music, right? Or you could put some low, some type of low bass music, anything that actually relaxes you and makes you feel nice and like woosah, right? You can get yourself a nice cup of tea and just sit where you need to sit, focus on what you need to focus on, and get yourself moving. My next tip is to put it on a calendar. Put your projects on a calendar. Keep yourself accountable. I will always suggest a project management tool. They are great for keeping yourself accountable. Some free ones you could use are Trello, Asana. They have a bunch out there that you can use. You put your projects in there. You can send yourself reminders. You can set due dates so you can move them around. It's a great way to keep yourself accountable. And my last tip is just jump in. Just jump in. No more excuses. No more reasons why you can't do something. Stop justifying it. Stop putting it off. Stop waiting for the perfect day. Stop waiting for the perfect weather. Stop waiting for the perfect time. There is no such thing. When you're trying to go towards something, you need to just jump in with both feet. So jump in, stop procrastinating, start realizing how it is self-sabotaging you. Start realizing how it makes you feel anxious. Start realizing how it's becoming super overwhelming every time you procrastinate on a task or a project, and just jump right in. So guys, that is all I have for you. I'm going back to work on the garage project I am working on, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.